guys. Hey, happy Sunday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. I am so excited to be joined by my guest today. But before I bring him on, let me say hello to everybody. So let's see who's in the chat. We have got Darpasta. Hello, Darpasta. We've got Dave Bob. We have got my wrenches, the Bash Brothers, Mark and Chris. Welcome, guys. We've got Camper. Hey, good to see you. Welcome, Martin Orlando. We've got the lovely US Dutch Kitty. Hey, Dutch. Good to see you, honey. We have got GoGo13. Hello, Yitza. Good to see you as always. Good evening. Robert Pearson, good evening to you too. Welcome. Project Storytime, good afternoon, sweetheart. And Catman Dee Myers, welcome. Good to see you. Deepan Martin, hello to you as well. Welcome, guys. I hope you are having a fantastic day so far. Therese, good evening to you too, sweetheart. And Andrew Stewart, welcome, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. As I said, I have an amazing guest today. I'm so excited to get to talk to him. Always brightens my Twitter feed with beautiful ladies. He is always a voice to listen to on YouTube and on Twitter. And let me bring him on. It is Mr. Kamran Pasha. Welcome to Rise and Shine.
What an honor, Purple Valkyrie. And let me apologize publicly to you and to your audience, because we were supposed to have done this last week, but I was confused because of the time zone. But now we're both in the right time zone, and we're doing this, and I'm absolutely excited and absolutely delighted here. And I know you have such a passionate fan base, because when I missed last week's session, I got so many messages saying, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was like, okay, wow, the people really love Purple Valkyrie, and this was really wonderful to see.
We do. We have an amazing chat, and they are so excited to get to hear you. Just looking in the chat at the moment, there are so many fans of you. It's brilliant. So it's an absolute honor that you could join me.
Well, we've been on. I think we've been on a couple live streams together. But in those times, I think you weren't feeling well, so I really didn't get to see you. You had like your avatar on.
Yes, it's a bad habit. I shouldn't hide behind the avatar. I've been told
you absolutely
before,
love me.
but
you know, look, the whole reason to, when you're a beautiful woman, the audience would like to see it. That's very helpful. It brings you more subscribers, because that's human nature.
It's good advice, most definitely. Thank you. Absolutely. But yeah, sometimes I get shy, so up comes the avatar, but not today. As I say, it's an honor to get to chat with you one-on-one. So first of all, how are you, and how's your day going?
I'm well. I'm back on Twitter as some of you people in chat and members know that I was kindly forcibly removed a while back, and then managed to find a way on, and hopefully they haven't figured out that I'm back on yet. But already it's a crazy world. You know, yesterday I was dealing with a strange new stalker on Twitter. Someone who
I saw that. That was interesting.
They created an account purely to lambaste me and to make up things like, you said this and you said that. I was like, who are you talking about, man? But it was literally an account just created for this.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, okay, this is a mentally ill person.
Yes, we are dealing with crazy people. But I would imagine, you know, being someone who is forthright with their opinion, people kind of will have a go at you a lot. Is that something that you have to deal with quite often, or is that just something that you can kind of like let it roll over?
I mean, I think all of us are fair game on social media. I think because I have at least some experience in the industry, which in theory would give me some credibility to some of the comments that I make. I think that agitates some people, because their standard thing is, you know, the standard response to anyone raising criticisms of where popular culture is, where the media is right now, is like, well, you know, you're just a crazy person sitting in your mom's basement, right? What do you know? Okay? And then like, okay, well, this guy's actually working in the industry. I have direct contacts, and you know, when I hear rumors about Star Wars, it's not from a friend of a friend of a friend. It's literally from somebody at Lucasfilm or somebody who's working with Jon Favreau. So I'm like, okay, well, it's decently likely to be true. So, and that agitates people.
It does, yeah. People seem to get very upset when they think that they know better than you, obviously. And as you say, you're someone who's been in the business for a long time. Could we kind of get a little bit of your history, you know, where you started?
Sure. So I was born in a former British colony, what became Pakistan. I was born there, and I moved to the United States when I was 3 years old. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. It's interesting. A lot of filmmakers come out of Brooklyn. There's something about that particular community in New York City that it's a very, and it's diverse in a real way, not in sort of the fake Hollywood diversity talk, but you have,
Yes.
when I went to school, all of my classmates were Puerto Rican, Italian, Jewish, African American, and they were all just thrown together in the same neighborhood, right? And so you learn from each other, and it inspires creativity. So I did that. I went to school in New Hampshire, so I went to a very cold little place, and then I was a journalist for a few years, and then went back to school to get a law degree and a business degree, and so I have a JD MBA, and I was bored out of my mind, and so in an accounting class, in business school, I wrote my first script just to pass the time because I was so bored, and I graduated. I was working at a law firm in New York, and I said, I've got this script, maybe something I can do about it. And it was just a teen horror script. I mean, well, it wasn't anything. It was just literally the pretty girl runs up the stairs while the masked killer chases her, right? And that kind of stuff. But I sent it out to agents in Hollywood, and amazingly, one actually responded to it, and he represented me. And then I started selling scripts to Paramount. I was like, wait a minute, I can do this. I had no idea. I could get paid a lot of money to do this. And I quit my job as a lawyer, and I moved to LA literally 20 years ago. April of 2001 is when I moved to Los Angeles, and I've survived 20 years of that town. And I'm still going, and despite the fact that I think very quickly I made a lot of enemies, and enemies that really matter, not the Twitter enemies, right? And so
not crazies on social media. Yes.
Yeah, people that are actually able to impact not just my career, but actually impact the industry. And so I've always been someone who's very outspoken. I don't fit into the mold that the industry wants, especially for minorities. Because you have to play along with the yes, master. Whatever you say, master, you're right, master. Thank you so much for the opportunity, master.
Yes, towing the line, absolutely.
And I've never been that person. I'm always going to call out. Anyone who follows me on Twitter knows I just call out bullshit when I hear it, and I don't have a filter. So if my boss says something stupid, my tongue won't restrain myself. Boss, I don't know about that, and no boss wants to hear that, right? And so, so that's made me a lot of adversaries. But I've survived. I'm still working. 20 years. I've got some real credits. I worked on a show, the big show that launched. Well, the show that started my career was actually the Twilight Zone with with Forrest Whitaker. That version, right?
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was a staff writer on that show. That was my first break, and my boss was Ira Stephen Bear, who created Star Trek: Deep Space Nine. So. Absolutely visionary writer, visionary leader. Anything I've learned about how to be an effective showrunner in television comes from Ira Bear. I mean, he was my first boss, and I've worked with a dozen since. And to this day, no one has been better than Ira Stephen Bear. And whatever I've learned about how to be a good leader came from him. And so that says something. And then I had shows like Sleeper Cell, which got a lot of awards, on Showtime. And then I worked on a lot of genre shows on the CW. So CW seemed to have loved me for a while. I worked on Nikita, and then worked on Reign, which is Mary Queen of Scots, from the mother of the man that unified your country. And then most recently I was on Roswell, New Mexico, which was an interesting experience. And here I am.
That's amazing. Have you found that, as you say, you've been there for 20 years, have you found that the industry has changed and evolved, or has it always been kind of a, once you're in that sort of group, that's it kind of mentality?
Well, it has always been a club. It's been a club for 100 years, right? And I broke into that club, and the club said, "Wait, who's this guy?" Right? And then, which is fine because they pander and they give like, "Oh, here's an opportunity. We'll give it to a minority person, somebody not in the club." But you didn't actually get into the club, right? There's a certain level beyond which you're not allowed to rise, right? And when it became obvious that, and this will sound arrogant, but it's also, you should know who you are, and I know who I am. When it became obvious that I was a better writer than most of the people I was interacting with, and I shouldn't be, right? I'm this random Pakistani guy, random Muslim guy. I shouldn't be a better writer than these people who are multi-generational family members of the club, right? And that became a real big threat really fast. And then I started rising and getting a lot of attention. I'll give you an example of how the industry works when you're not in the club and you start breaking through. So the show Sleeper Cell, which is about a Muslim FBI agent who infiltrates a terrorist group and defeats them, right? So that got a lot of attention. It got a bunch of Golden Globe nominations, Emmy nominations, all of that. The day that it premiered, it was December of 2005. And that was my first sort of, I mean, I'd been working, but that was my first public break. Like people, this guy's working on a big prominent show that's getting awards. The day that it premiered, the Los Angeles Times ran a full page article about me as sort of one of the very first Muslim guys to break in Hollywood. Like it was full page. Like I have it framed on my wall. And so that it ran that morning, which obviously brought a lot of publicity because the show was going to premiere that night, and the LA Times just did this piece, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that morning I woke up and I got a call from my sister saying, "Hey, what's wrong with your voicemail?" I said, "What?" So I listened to I went into my system and listened to my voicemail. My voicemail had been hacked and changed. Someone had broken into my phone that morning, right after the LA Times article came out, and they had changed it to saying it was somebody else's voice going, "Hi, my name is Kamran Pasha. I like to sexually harass women. I like to do all these terrible things." It was horrific. I mean, and I called the phone company, and they said, "Wow, this kind of hack, somebody inside the phone company would have had to have done it." And I said, "What?" So this wasn't some random person finding a way to, no, they're like, "No, this kind of thing, we'll have to do an investigation," which they never told me the result of, right? But so that was an example of, I suddenly had gotten a lot of attention, and someone decided, I want to remind this kid who's boss. Somebody had called the phone company, somebody there, and had it done, right? And so that, and you can do that now. Yeah, you can do that now. People are like conspiracy theories, and it's like, no, you can do that in Hollywood.
It happens, yeah, absolutely.
It's not hard. You know, if you are Steven Spielberg, everyone takes your call and says, "Mr. Spielberg, whatever you need to do, we'll get it done," right? And so
no questions asked, yeah.
No questions asked. And so that was my first, hey man, you're getting a little too close to the fire there, right? And I had a lot more experiences since then, and I survived them.
Yes. It's strange in the Paris actually asks, have you ever been fearful of your safety? Have you spoken out about some scary people and places? And this world is obviously getting crazier day by day.
Well, you know, I'm getting a little nervous about some of these characters on Twitter, right? Like the one yesterday. Mm-hmm. I mean, right now I'm not that afraid of having my breaks lines cut by people in Hollywood, which can be done. That has been done too when necessary. I don't think I'm that much of a threat yet. But my concern right now is for what's happening on social media. There's a lot of mentally ill people out there, and they start focusing, like that account that I blocked yesterday. He's still out there posting crazy things. He has no followers. Who is he posting this? And I blocked it. Mental illness.
I looked at that account, and it, like you say, it had been created that day. Yeah. Specifically for the sole purpose of harassing you. Yeah, exactly. And Twitter, I use it as a tool for networking. That's pretty much all I use it for. But it seems that people seem to think that Twitter and social media nowadays is actually real life. So it's become like a microcosm. And with obviously what's happened in the last 18 months, people are getting very kind of withdrawn and kind of retreating into their own bubbles. I think there's this kind of breakdown in social norms going on.
Yeah, there is, and social media is actually what it is. It's not a reflection of who we are. It's a reflection of our id. It's a reflection of through the lowest animal part of our nature, because we're not interacting with each other as human beings. We're not looking into each other's eyes, and so all of us, including me, we say things that we wouldn't necessarily say to someone's face.
Absolutely.
But then people who are already unhinged will now start doing things they wouldn't necessarily do in real life.
Yes, and Renzero puts out a good point. There are paid trolls. People can be paid and bot accounts just to harass people.
I'm convinced that's why I was kicked off of Twitter 2 months ago. Because I had made some critiques of Miss Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm, and it was right after I made a very specific comment that I got pulled and I was permanently banned. And I mean, there was no reason. Literally, Twitter's answer is, "You are a fake account impersonating people." I'm like, it's linked to my phone number. You can just call me and you'll know it's me, right? But they had to have an excuse, right? And so literally, you're a fake account creating spam. It's been on for 10 years, right? So, but what happened there in that incident. I do believe it was the example of that, of someone changing my voicemail. I have always been a vocal critic of where Lucasfilm has gone and where Star Wars has gone, and I have people that are working directly, friends of mine that are working with Jon Favreau and whatever. So I mean, I'm a little bit close to the circle, and so that's an irritant to people at Lucasfilm. I get it. At some point they found out who I was, I'm sure, right? Like, who's this guy? This guy's actually talking, because people don't do this publicly. My feelings about Lucasfilm have been shared by much more famous people than me to me, but they don't say it publicly, right? It's considered a violation of the club's rules, right? And I'm, well, you don't want me in the club, so I don't care. So that's all. Say it. I mean, that's the price you get. Lock it. You don't want me in, all right? I'm just gonna talk about it. So, but I made a comment that anyway, I was cut off right after this comment, and then Doomcock, the YouTuber Doomcock, made a video that maybe helped me understand it, which is I was getting these what appeared to be paid bots were attacking me publicly. People that were accounts that were following me, but were making comments about me, but not copying me. So I didn't know it was happening. And someone said, "Hey, this guy's talking about you." So I went and checked his thread, and it was somebody that was following me. I didn't know the account, but it was saying all kinds of, it had these like long threads. So don't listen to Kamran Pasha's critiques of Lucasfilm. He got fired by Disney. He's this and that. He's a hack writer. I was like, there were a lot of very specific comments of somebody who clearly knew something about my history, right? And so I confronted this person. I was like, "Hey man, why are you following me if you're going to say this kind of stuff?" And then they went off and said more kind of stuff. And so I suddenly realized this is a Lucasfilm plant, right? Because the amount of I figured it out from what they were saying. It's like all the comments are to defend Lucasfilm and to attack my character. So this is either somebody inside the company who's got nothing better to do, right? A lot of them have nothing better to do at this point, and so it's like, or they've got some marketing company doing this to hassle critics, right? So I got angry and I put out a couple of tweets, and I was banned right after them. The first tweet was, I said literally, I CC'd like Lucasfilm on it. I said, all of you Lucasfilm flying monkeys, which is my word for them, the flying monkeys from Oz, all of you flying monkeys, you think Kathleen Kennedy respects you? You're just pawns. She's going to walk away. Whenever she leaves, she's going to walk away with all the accolades. You're all going to get fired. And worse, you have no careers, because famous writer producers have said to me, "I'm not going to hire that person. The person's a jerk to the fans or whatever." And I don't like, but even though they won't say it publicly, privately, they're like, these Lucasfilm people are finished, right? They have ruined their reputations by servicing this agenda, right? And so I was like, "You're all finished." So that was the first tweet. And the second tweet, I compared, so this like, these people who are watching over me, I compared them, I said, this like Kathleen Kennedy's like the Eye of Sauron, right? And I got pulled after that, and I was like, "What happened?" And then Doomcock that week did a video, and I didn't know anything about this. He did a video completely separately saying that Jon Favreau likes to refer to Kathleen Kennedy by coincidence as the Eye of Sauron. That's his code word, right? So I have a feeling when I use that phrase, somebody Lucasfilm said, "Oh, he really is in contact with Favreau. We got to pull him before he reveals something." I don't know Mr. Favreau. I know people in his inner circle who are long-term members of his crew very well, right?
You just happen to use that particular phrase.
I use that phrase because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, right? Not. I guess even that's not acceptable now. OneRing.net, you can't be a Lord of the Rings fan. You're a sexist, but I am one. I'm one of the old, and I use that phrase, and they pulled me the next day. So I was like, all right, that was the trigger phrase, because somebody made the call and said, "Hey, this guy is actually a problem. He actually does seem to be like a Favreau plant, and we got to get him out." And this is before the whole thing unraveled for them, because we can talk about that. But I'm absolutely of the view that Miss Kennedy's tenure is over and they're all done. There's a lot of weird controversy in the fandom right now over that, but I think it's pretty self-evident. But whatever.
I would be inclined to agree, to be honest. I mean, I don't follow the kind of Star Wars news, although I'm kind of an old school Star Wars fan. Because of what's happened with Disney, I've kind of turned my back on that at the moment. But I would absolutely agree, and it does seem that anyone that kind of gives the dissenting opinion is being watched, and it is troubling, absolutely, especially for YouTubers.
Yeah, what it is because this is an incestuous group of powerful people, right? So there've already been people that have revealed that there's a direct line from government officials to Twitter, right? They can call and say, "This person, get rid of this person. He's spreading misinformation," right? So that means Twitter is not a private company. It's in the arm of the government pretending to be a private company, right? And so if there's people calling from the White House or within the current administration, Twitter, you absolutely know that there's people within the Hollywood system, because Hollywood and DC are the same. They're just two faces of the same coin, right? I work here. They're literally connected at the navel. And so in the same way you can have somebody from Washington, D.C. calling Twitter and say, remove that person, you can easily have someone from a powerful studio calling a friend at Twitter and said, remove that person. That's how that system works.
Absolutely. And like you say, they can remove you for very minor offences. You know, they will say that your account wasn't real, or that, you know, you're spamming, when you know that isn't the case, but there
I
has
only
to be some
spam
sort
hot
of
women.
excuse.
Nobody has a problem with that. I spam beautiful women.
Nobody
I don't have any
has
problem
a
with
problem with that. You bless people's timelines with beautiful ladies. It always makes me smile.
I'm a Sufi, and we Sufi mystics, we're not exactly like conservative fundamentalist types, and we Sufis, for me, it's all about, you know, women are the manifestation of God's beauty. That's an old Sufi saying. So I'm like, hey, for me, I'm looking at the divine feminine. That's my thing.
That's it. Just share the beauty with other people. I love that. But no, it always makes me smile when I see like a thread that you've done of ladies.
I'm pretty selective. I choose lovely ladies, and they're all relatively classy, and so yeah.
You mentioned OneRing.net. Obviously, we've had in the past.
Now they're going to come after me.
They're going to get you as well. Exactly. We've had a lot of companies that have kind of targeted the fans, basically. So if the fans decide to do a differing opinion to what's going, or that they decide to speak out and say, you know what, I'm not quite sure I like the way that this is going, we're suddenly told that we're not fans anymore. We never really were fans. This isn't for us anymore. How do you feel about that kind of mentality?
Well, the mentality of the fans. Well, the fans are right to say it. Well, if the mentality is, the resistance to that,
yes,
and by the official media, well, personally, I think the days of that nonsense are over, but people in Hollywood haven't figured it out yet. I was actually surprised by this OneRing.net nonsense. I was like, man, this is very 2020. What are you doing here? These days are done, right? Even Lucasfilm is quiet now. They've figured it out that insulting the fans doesn't work. But what happens is it's like a virus, if I can use that. It goes from, after destroying one host, it goes to another, right? So it now left Lucasfilm a broken skeleton, right? And the virus now has jumped to Lord of the Rings. And when it breaks that, it'll go somewhere else. It's just how it works.
We actually mentioned that the other day when I was talking about it with Project Storytime. We've noticed this seems to be a trend. It's gone from Star Trek to Star Wars to Lord of the Rings. It's moved on into gaming, into tabletop gaming, even books. It's like, how many of people's hobbies can be taken over and corrupted?
But it is a mental virus. I mean, this woke ideology, there's classic liberals, there's people who like support gay rights, who are just like normal people like the rest of us, right? But then there's this thing, which isn't liberalism. This is totalitarianism. This is an ideology which is actually fascist in orientation, but it masks itself in allegedly humanitarian values, right? That's the most insidious kind of ideology, because it's pure, fascist totalitarianism controlling everything you say and think. And it masks itself because saying it in the form of ugly nationalism is just, that's not attractive. Saying in the form of, we're trying to save mankind, or no, can't say mankind, humanity, right? We're trying to save humanity, and so that's how it masks itself. And Hollywood is full of these sort of, fake woke people who are they're doing it for attention. They're doing it just to fit in and for PR purposes. And they haven't thought out any of this, and they don't believe any of it. There are all these rich people sitting in mansions talking about Black Lives Matter and, we don't need the police because I have a security team. That actually happened to me last summer when Los Angeles was going through riots, essentially race riots, right? And it wasn't even race riots. What it was white people claiming to protest Black Lives Matter, setting fire to Black people's houses. I mean, that's what it was, right? Whatever. So that's what's happening. And I went and I visited I won't name him, a very, very powerful and famous producer. And he was, it was nice because at the time everyone was afraid to even go to anybody's house, but he let me come to his house. He had that much not fear of the health issues, let me in. We had a very nice time. But then, this guy's a rich guy living in a very rich neighborhood, a gated area, there's security everywhere. And he's talking about how, Los Angeles needs to burn, all the racial injustice in Los Angeles. I was like, buddy, they ain't coming to this neighborhood to burn nothing down, right? I've got friends in poor areas in the Hollywood area, and two friends who had to move out of their buildings because their buildings had been attacked by rioters.
Oh my
Two
gosh.
friends, and both were very sort of left leaning in their politics, and they were shaken up by this because they're
Hmm.
like, this isn't justice. I mean, why are you attacking my house? And so that woke them up at least. But my friend is sitting there, powerful producer, wealthy, surrounded by his private security. None of those
Hmm.
rioters are going to get close to that neighborhood, and happy to call for the destruction of LA. But we got to let it burn. So, but that's the industry, right? And so the
Yes.
woke hypocrisy, it accesses those people, and this gentleman is in the club, and it accesses his sort of hypocrisy, and it's unthinking hypocrisy. He really thinks he's being righteous, right? And it accesses that to spread this virus, this mental virus.
Yes, there does seem to be this kind of prevailing holier than thou kind of attitude coming from the higher up, but it's the smaller people that seem to be pushing it. You know, you get Twitter mobs, for example, on Twitter, who will go after a target relentlessly, even though
But
they
even
don't
those
really
aren't
know what's
natural.
going on. Yeah, they're not.
Even
No,
those aren't
it's
natural.
manufactured.
Those are instigated by these people. So I mean, the
Absolutely.
average one on Twitter is not smart enough to organize his own life, much less bring other people together, right? So these are being things that are instigators are doing it. That's why I'm concerned about this new account, because it appears to be a new organized attack.
Hmm.
That's why I blocked it, and hopefully there won't be more of them.
Yes, I was going to say he's most definitely been very active at the moment. Just to say to the chat as well, a huge thank you to everyone who's joined us. What I will do, if that's okay, I will do the super chats at the end of the show, if that's all right, Mr Pasha,
Absolutely.
rather than
And
kind of
you
break the
can
flow.
call me Cameron. You can call me
Okay.
Cameron.
Okay, Cameron, I will call you that. But
And we want me to call you
huge.
Purple or Valkyrie? Which one you like? Which one you like better?
Valkyrie's fine,
Valkyrie's good.
absolutely. But massive thank you to everyone who sent super chats so far. Thank you, guys.
Please support this channel. Don't just talk about it on Twitter. Come here and support her.
Do you, as we were saying, we were talking about this kind of backlash on fans. So you know, it's all very well that people will support something, but do you think it's a case of once people speak out and then they kind of turn their back on things, then do you think that's when they get attacked? So as long as you kind of toe the line with people, they're fine with it. Oh, I think we've frozen. Right, I will read a couple of super chats and just wait for it to come back. Let me just check. So let me grab a couple of these. Massive thank you, guys. So we had a super chat from last week from Gogo13. So a massive thank you to you, sweetheart. He said, before I run out, Purple and Cameron having a discussion. Long live quality work and goodwill towards y'all. Thank you, Golgo. Appreciate that. Thank you, sweetheart. We have also had one today for $5. Thank you, love. He says, "Hail Purple and Cameron. The legends of awesomeness have arrived. Glad you could be here. Glad you're here too, sweetheart. Thank you. We have got a new member. We have got D-Bud Martin. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. Welcome to you. Let me see who else. I know Ecobase just sent a generous super chat. Thank you. We'll just wait for Cameron to rejoin, but it says, Cameron, thoughts on Dave Filoni? Do you think he's on board with KK's agenda, or do you think he's just going along with it while she's in charge? As soon as he gets back, I will ask. Let's just see if there's a couple more. Cameron down. He'll be back in a moment, guys. Thank you for waiting with us. Let's have a look, see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Hope you're having a good one. Good evening. Good evening to you too. Welcome. Good to see you. Let's see who else has joined us. And so Darth Hasta says, I've thrown my hope for Star Wars off a bridge and burn the bridge. Stick me with a fork, I'm done. a lot of people were kind of having that thought as well. Hello.
Okay. So my computer is frozen. I don't know why. Maybe it's again. If it could be a conspiracy theorist, it's interesting. It freezes at exactly the moment that we start talking about. These things are happening. But I'm doing it on my phone. I hope it doesn't freeze. And so I don't know what's happening there. But I apologize again to your community. But I'm back.
No, not at all. Thank you ever so much. Let me just ask this, because Ekabase asked a specific for yourself. They asked, what are your thoughts on Dave Filoni? Do you think he's on board with KK's agenda, or do you think he's going along with it while she's in charge?
Filoni once. I was actually up for the job of head writer for a Clone War. Went through the interview process, and the final interview was Mr. Filoni himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met him, and he's a very smart guy. He's very passionate, feels very protective of it. But that was my impression when I met him. Like, he's still there, right? He's still there.
Oh, so seeing that Cameron's having connection issues. My apologies, guys. Hopefully it's not my connection messing with him. But massive thank you to everyone who's joined us. Let's try this one. Hey.
I don't know what's happening here. I apologize. I don't know if it's my end or just the system in general, but it should be happening on my phone as well, which doesn't make any sense to me. So
yes, got a conspiracy vibe going here.
So I don't know how far I got in before I froze up for your audience. What was that? I've seen enough in Hollywood to know conspiracies are real. So what can I tell you?
That I believe, absolutely. We were just explaining about your feelings on Dave Filoni.
So how far did I get? I was saying about my experiences with Dave Filoni.
Yes, that's where we got to. My apologies, guys. It does seem that the connection is unstable. Let's just see what else you guys are saying in the chat while we try and sort this out. Thank you, guys, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Let's have a look, see what you guys are saying. Ah, there we go. That looks much better.
There we go. Okay. The universe doesn't. We're still doing it. We're still doing this in and out.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Perhaps,
very good people. They're very patient.
Okay, let me check. So a massive thank you to Matthew Sturgis. He sends us a $14.99 super chat. Thank you, sweetheart. He says, excellent to hear from Jedi Master Kamran. I've also finally started reading Shadow of the Swords. Very much enjoying it so far. Any danger of more books? Yes, guys, absolutely. Kamran is also a very talented author. I've linked his website down below as well. So please check that out.
Okay. I'm here for the moment. And thank you. I got that super chat. I'm very grateful if anyone's reading my novels. I'm very proud of them. I think you'd like them. This one, The Shadow of Swords, is about Richard the Lionheart and the Muslim King Saladin and their war in the Third Crusade. So that I know is an important part of British history as well. So
it is, absolutely. I've actually got a couple of your books on order, so just waiting for them to arrive.
wow.
I'm very much looking forward to reading them.
Thank you. So yeah, it feels like if I was a conspiracy theorist, every time I talk about Mr. Filoni and Lucasfilm, I get pulled. Notice that? So conspiracy theorist, every time I do it, my computer fails, my phone fails. So to answer the earlier question, Mr. Filoni, let's see if they let me do it. Mr. Filoni is very much a political survivor, and that's I got fired from Disney for not being smart enough to handle the politics there. Right? He has learned how to survive those politics since Lucasfilm was acquired by Disney. He's a smart man, and so I personally, from my interactions with him, I believe that he is passionate about the George Lucas vision of Star Wars. I believe that he's proud to be a George Lucas protege, unlike some of the Lucasfilm people who seem to have thrown George under the bus the moment the company was taken over by Disney. They just were, these rather than protect the vision of George Lucas. He also has to act in a politically wise way given to him. Mr. Favreau has tremendous power, and power in the sense of, I don't think Dave Filoni can call Bob Chapek a cell phone. I don't think he can do that. And ask, I think Jon Favreau can call Chapek's cell phone and has done so, right? And so it's all about what you can do with the power that you've been given.
That's awesome. Thank you, and thank you for persevering with that answer.
We'll get past that topic because the world goes crazy when I talk about Lucasfilm. It's very strange.
It really does, yeah. But it's very interesting, as you say. Just to see what we were actually talking about. We're having absolutely fine discussion up until that point. So, very, very
and then
curious.
Literally, my computer freezes, my phone doesn't connect, and they're different systems. So it's very
yes, strange. For one, I suppose is a possibility for both.
No,
yes.
I'll share with you because people say you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. I'll share with you one story, and I won't name it. Yeah, well, I'll share with you people say, Cameron, you're a conspiracy theorist. So I will share with you a story without naming the people.
Okay,
right?
Okay, you can do that.
Say that you understand that there's conspiracies here. I'm developing a TV show with an Oscar-winning producer. He is or at least Oscar nominated. Has multiple Oscar nominations, right? And one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. And his partner once said this to me. He said, one day, this producer.
Oh, I think it's cut out again, Cameron.
I don't know if I'm
My
on time
apologies.
I don't know what's happening here.
Yep. Oh, there we go. That looks better.
Valkyrie, can you hear me?
Yes, I think perhaps we're being watched.
I don't know what to do here because it looks like
not just by this wonderful chat. Thank you for sticking with us, guys. We really appreciate you.
This is really I'm embarrassed.
No, don't be. Not at all.
This happened to me on any live.
Brenzira says maybe try it with the camera off. We can definitely try turning the cameras off. Perhaps that would help, but I don't think that's the case at this point. But no, don't be told. This has been
I am back
a fantastic interview. Yep, you're back. I can hear you. Absolutely. Just while you do that, what I will do is I will just grab a couple of more super chats if that's okay. Let's just see who else has been generous with us today. Massive thank you, guys. I hope you're having a good day.
Well, let me see. Yeah, might be some kind of time delay.
Could be a time delay, absolutely. So, massive thank you to Yasser Ansari, who sent us a super sticker earlier for $4.99. Thank you, sweetheart. Really, really appreciate you. We have also had a thumbs up sticker from Roger H. Thank you, my love. And we've had a £5 super chat sticker from the Jester of Sin. It's the little Shiba Inu, and he's clapping and says bravo. So thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you guys.
Okay, I'm
We're
back
back.
on my computer. There
Okay.
was a time delay when I was on the phone. I think we were about 30 seconds apart. I
That's
would say
insane.
things, and then about 30 seconds later, I would hear you respond to them.
How crazy is that?
This has never happened to me in a live stream. So, the world's a very strange place right now.
It is, but it's very, as you say, very curious as to the timing, because obviously we're having absolutely no issues up until that point. But I'm
Yeah,
having a lot of fun with this. So thank you for persevering with me.
well, what it is it's. I don't think it's people sitting around watching live streams, but there are bots. I mean, definitely the technology exists. There are bots that can
Oh
hear
yeah.
words and phrases, and
Hmm.
that they can attack right when certain topics come up. I mean, I know that technology exists. Whether we're being the victim of it or not, I don't know. But that possibility.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've had it, for example, in chats, there will be words that have been caught and censored that even the moderators haven't had to deal with. There will just be comments deleted. And I have no blocked words on my chat. So it's very curious to see it happen. Oh, they got him. Hey, guys. Thank you. But I think what we're probably going to have to do, unfortunately, is perhaps Cameron would be kind enough to join us again at some point. as as awesome as this has been, um, US, did they get him again? It looks that way, doesn't it, sweetheart? Unfortunately, but it's very interesting. Print Zero suggest using a VPN next time. I have a VPN, so it's I think that's not quite the issue. Robert Pearson, thank you, sweetheart. He says we stand with Pasha. We do, absolutely. And Mexican Iron Man, hello, sweetheart. Good 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 afternoon, Papi. He sends us a $9.99 super chat. Thank you. He says, "Oh no, what happened to my brother Cameron? Uh, we're having very interestingly timed technical difficulties, Mexican Iron Man. That's what's happening." But massive thank you to everyone who's joined us in the chat today. We really appreciate you. And hello, Yvonne. Good to see you. He says, "Oh man, they got him again." I think so, unfortunately, but I've had a heck of a lot of fun getting to chat with him today. I knew this was going to be a great interview. And hello, Keely. Roll Tide. Good to see you. I hope you're having a good day too. Um, I will give it another minute or so to see if Cameron can rejoin us. If not, what I will do, guys, is I will say a massive thank you to everyone, and then I'll probably have to end the stream, unfortunately. And Dee Dee says, Purple Valkyrie, down, send Mexican Iron Man to help Cameron. And hello, Conspiracy, I'm suiting up to fly to your house, Purple, for a complete investigation. Also, feel free to make a Mexican personal inspection. Good to know. I will note that down. Thank you. And thank you, Chris, for the public service announcement. Thank you, sweetheart. Uh, all right, my guy. All right, my loves. I think, unfortunately, what we're going to have to do, if Cameron will be kind enough to join us again another time, we will reschedule. And I think what I will do to get around it, I'll pre-record it. I think that would help. And thank you, Renzero, sweetheart. Appreciate you. It says, despite technical faults, I wanted to say thank you, Purple, for the stream, and thank you, Cameron, for the insight. A pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure to have Cameron join us today. He is a fantastic guy, and I'm very, very grateful that he's taken the time to get to chat with us. And Dadman Walking, thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate that. He says, keep the great work, Purple. You show grace under extreme difficulties. Thank you. Have a great rest of the weekend. You too, sweetheart. You have a good one. Guys, I hope you have had a fun time. I know I did. Here we go. Let me just see if this works. Hello. Hey, Cameron.
This is getting a little, it's going from bizarre to sinister. Something is not right. And so all my communications are going through this, and I don't know what's happening.
This is getting bizarre, and I think probably the best thing to do, what I would ask is, would you be kind enough to join us again at another point?
Is there, Valkyrie, is there a way that I can phone in to this chat?
I'm not sure what we will do. Let me say a massive, massive thank you to everyone who's joined us.
I would be fine with that. I want to.
Let's end it here, because obviously we're having issues. What we will do, guys, we will kind of put our heads together, and most certainly, if Cameron would be kind enough to join us again, I would love to get to chat to you again.
All right, then I apologize to you. I don't know what's happening here, but let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
Okay.
Thank you.
I had a wonderful time with your community for the time that I was allowed on here by the system. So there's something sinister happening here that I've never experienced before.
There's something definitely strange going on. I will absolutely agree with that. But a massive, massive thank you to you. I know you're extremely busy, and I'm very honoured that you took the time to chat with us today. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We seem to be okay for now. Is there any last thing I can talk about before they pull me again? Is there any last thing I can say to your audience? They seem to have left me alone for now.
They do. Well, let me just pass it on to you. Is there any message that you would like to give the audience? All I would say is a massive thank you to yourself, and a thank you to everyone who's joined us today. You guys are the best.
Okay. We will talk soon then, Valkyrie. Hopefully it'll work out.
We will indeed. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone.
We'll talk soon. Take care.
Bye. Thank you, Cameron. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. As I say, we will kind of put our heads together, and hopefully Cameron will join us again really soon. A massive, massive thank you to him for today, because he's very, very busy, and it was an honour to get to chat with him. Thank you, everyone who's joined us today. I hope you had fun. It was definitely different. Not quite what I expected, but I really enjoyed it. Huge thank you to everyone who joined, who sent super chats, who sent super stickers. Thank you, guys. You are the best. I will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central. So hopefully I will see you there, and I will see you throughout the week. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. Thank you. Let me pull that up. Thank you so much, and Take care. Thank you guys. Mwah.